A big problem I've noticed, or just something I really don't like, in the current music just industry, and then also just like creative fields in general, is that you really just can't be an artist, and just an artist. Like, you really have to be a content creator now, and I think that really sucks. Like, I make content, I guess, like with these videos, but these second channel videos are more just kind of me talking. Like, I don't know, this I don't know, I just like talking about things. This is like a passion and a hobby for me, and I put creative effort into it. But I can't imagine as a musician how annoying that would be, to have to create content for this art that you love, and you have to kind of devalue and commercialize it to such an extent. And I think that really sucks. Like, I do photography, so I kind of feel that to an extent, where I take pictures a lot, I post pictures a lot, but I realize I will never get any sort of recognition unless I make content and stuff like that. Generally, obviously you can, it's not like it's impossible, but it's the current way things are, that's the way you should be doing them. Is you should be making content. If you're making art, you need to make content about your art. And I just think that really sucks that that's how it has to be. It's not how it has to be, and that's kind of actually my whole point. When you have to make art for the content you're making, the content for the art you're making, it's just, it can kind of feel like you're delegitimizing yourself as an artist to an extent, and you can't just do your craft. Imagine you were a carpenter. You own a carpentry shop. You do woodworking, whatever. You own the shop. You've worked woodworking your whole life. You've got these skills. You're a master at woodworking. But then also you have to dance outside your store with a sign. You're the person who has to do that. And that's just ridiculous. As someone who does woodworking, you should just be doing the woodworking, not also be the person advertising your woodworking. You shouldn't have to brand yourself. Well, obviously branding and stuff has always existed in music, but you should just be able to put your art out there, and if it's good and people love it, people love it. If they don't, they don't. You shouldn't have to be the one marketing yourself, and this whole I don't know, it's just such a weird concept to me, and I think it shouldn't. It just kind of imagine if King Cruel, right? He came around, he was a young artist. He came around, imagine if he had to make TikToks. He was is this the song of the summer? And then it's out getting ribs. That'd be so weird. And it doesn't make it feel like if he did that, that would delegitimize. It's it's not it's oh, he's not a real artist because he's making content. But it makes it I feel like you lose respect for an artist to an extent when they're constantly pumping out content for their stuff, and you can't blame them for it. That you have to, if you want to make it and not be signed to a label, or even if you are signed to a label, you still have to do it. Some labels make you do it, and it's just ridiculous. And with this, I'm not trying to seem entitled, oh, me, myself, I have to make content to make my art successful. I was talking about with my photography, oh, I deserve success without making content, whatever. I don't think I deserve success. This just isn't the way it should be for anyone at all, because I feel like it just kind of pushes back. It's kind of very almost anti-art to have to do that sort of thing, where an artist can't just be an artist. At the end of the day, it's really labels and these big companies that are really controlling this whole thing. At first with TikTok, there was some self-promotion, but label execs saw that, and they're able to manipulate and make trends happen, and it's all falsified, self-made stuff. A lot of industry plants are around, and I have no issue with industry plant. I don't know, I'm fine with people having connections in industry and getting successful because of that, because that's literally how it is no matter what. You need connections to find success 90% of the time, and that is just how creative industries are. It sucks, and I don't think it should be that way, but it is. So I don't think someone should be oh, they're an industry plant, don't listen to them. That's not, I think that's kind of just stupid. But yeah, labels make all this happen, and as a listener, you can be the one to reject this market they've put in place and just this like system they've put in place, as a listener, as the consumer, you have that power independently to choose to seek out smaller musicians, to seek out communities. And that's actually what's the most important, I find, is you need these communities. Kind of helps combat this whole idea of like you need to advertise yourself, because you're trying to push yourself out. So you push yourself out in the mainstream and get people at least just paying attention to you. That's what the content does. But if you're in a community, you can share music. There's a bunch of artists, there's a bunch of fans, and it's a whole ecosystem, and people push each other up because they give people a chance without them having to like dance around getting their attention first. Community just is so mutually like I can't express enough how important it is, like how beneficial the exchange, like an artist and a like listener community, and like kind of just like a group of artists and like a community around that, how important that is. Like there's a like kind of up and coming artist, Sam LRC. She put out this beautiful album this year, A Lonely Sinner, because she had this kind of like community around like the album of the year website, where it's like a music rating site. There was a community around that, and that propelled her album out into the world. Like she had a bit of a community on there, so people listened to it like, wow, this is amazing. And then by word of mouth, it spread, and she got record sales. Like she pressed vinyls like as an independent artist, and CDs and all this stuff. And she was actually able to get out of her shitty living situation because this community put out her beautiful music out there, and she found success through that community. And I'm not giving all credit, like, oh, the community is giving her like all these opportunities. Like she made beautiful music and it propels it out there. Like having that combination of really great talent and a really great community can lead to amazing things that don't need record labels, that don't need constant self-promotion, and art can just exist because there's people around it that care. And I think that's really important. If you love music, listen to it like you do, because like a lot of people just don't try to seek out, like there should be an exchange between an artist and a listener more than just streams. Like, I don't know, I buy a lot of, like if you can afford it, obviously, like I buy a lot of physical stuff from smaller artists. Like I try to buy more from smaller artists because, you know, they need it. Like I bought a few cassettes from smaller artists. I don't have a cassette player, but I just want to support the small artists. And you just should be paying more attention to what's coming out in, like, find community, figure out what's coming out in that community, like what music, find stuff you really like, share stuff you really like with your friends, with, I don't know, other people in that community. And just, if you like music, just try to be I think being really passionate about it is just an amazing thing. And I think it really helps everybody when you just show a lot of love. A lot of music community is based around all this negativity, and I think it kind of really sucks and hurts a lot of, especially online communities, where everything's based around what sucks the worst than what is the best. I find a lot of time, especially on fucking Twitter. Try to be positive. Try to find the best shit. Try to be passionate about that shit. Try to be just like real and truthful. And yeah, I don't know, just be real with what you're like listening to. Be real with like the people around you and what you love. And yeah, I don't know, try to be less negative, because there's already a lot of that, especially in the music world. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to talk about today. Subscribe. I have a video out on Wednesday at 6 p.m. every Wednesday. There'll be another one next week, and there was one last week and the week before, and there'll be one 2 weeks from now, from on and on and on. So yeah, bye guys. Follow me on Twitter.